The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
God is good. Well, yes, He is, but those aren't my words tonight. Those are the words on a social media post of Finance Minister Michael Halkitis as calls for his resignation get louder. Also tonight, a father and his 12-year-old son in court for the shooting of the man's 8-year-old son. Also ahead, new reform is coming for the aviation industry and much, much more, including a tribute to Rupert Roberts. This is Beyond the Headlines, Week in Review Fridays. Good evening, I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Well, tonight there is mounting political questions and pressure surrounding Finance Minister Michael Halkitis and his past association with a company allegedly linked to Jonathan Eric Gardner. The Free National Movement and the Coalition of Independents are pressing for answers and accountability. Halkitis insists his role with top-notch builders was limited and denies any improper relationship with Gardner. But the controversy is fueling renewed debate over transparency in political associations and public trust at the highest levels of government. Joining me this evening to speak about that is F&M Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands. Dr. Sands, good evening to you. It's good to have you here on Beyond the Headlines. Thank you for being here, sir.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Dr. Sands, do you believe the Prime Minister should jump on this immediately and speak to the Bahamian people about Michael Halkitis' relationship with Eric Gardner or with a company that Gardner has affiliation with or ownership of, and he may have played a key role in?
Absolutely. I think the fact that the government and the PLP have circled the wagon and basically tried to suggest that there's nothing here, folks, keep moving, is so dismissive and demonstrates such contempt for the Bahamian people that it has gone beyond the ridiculous now to the sublime. Here you have a convicted felon who is now once again in custody in the Southern District of New York, said to be a major narco trafficker. And one of the companies of which he was the beneficial owner turns out to have been directed and headed by the president was for the periods 2019, 2020, and 2021, according to the records from the registry, headed by somebody who now sits as the Minister of Finance. The government of the Bahamas had been doing business with an alleged narco trafficker. And one of the cabinet ministers worked not in a subservient position, but in arguably the number 2 position in that company. The president is second only to the CEO. So it is very difficult for us to believe that this was, just providing professional services and I really didn't know, and so on and so forth. There's so much that needs to be explained, and it needs to be explained by no less than the Prime Minister himself.
Yes.
But
now,
even with an explanation, the minister should resign.
Yes, so you're standing on, and when I say you, the Free National Movement is standing behind its calls for Halkitis' resignation.
Yes. And, the Westminster system demands that somebody as in such a sensitive position in government, this brings odium, this brings shame, this brings unnecessary scrutiny to the government of the Bahamas and by extension, the people of the Bahamas. whether he did anything wrong or not. It is the appearance that is unacceptable. It's the appearance of impropriety.
I wanted to ask you what message you think this sends to Bahamians who are very much now intrigued and looking at transparency, accountability, and wanting their government to be accountable to them and not be caught up in scandals. What message does this send? Even as you said, if he did nothing wrong, if he, as he has gone on record and saying he simply provided a service of setting up this business and putting the proper frameworks in place, but to be connected and not saying much more to explain to the Bahamian people, what message does it send?
This administration is basically saying to the Bahamian people, whatever buck up goes. They tried to appoint somebody who was disqualified from serving as the vice president of the Senate. No big deal. They have appointed two persons to ministerial posts that may or may not qualify. But now this is perhaps the biggest insult to the Bahamian people, to say that somebody who served as the president of a company owned by a confirmed narco trafficker, and that is not a problem for this administration. Just keep walking, folks. It's no big deal. What they're basically saying is, Bahamians, we could care less what you think, and we could care less about the reputation of this country.
Was a legitimate one from the Free National Movement yesterday, stating just what you repeated just now, is that Halkitis did serve as president and I believe director in this top-notch builders previously for a short stint, that he did serve as that. Does the opposition have evidence to prove what it's saying? And I know you called dates a moment ago, but do you have hard evidence to say, listen, wait a minute, because he did tell us, he did tell the public, you can go to the Registrar General, you would see that there is nothing proving that he served as president, but does the opposition have this in their possession?
I'm happy to share them with you immediately, even before you get off here.
Oh, very interesting. The government has defended him. His words today were simply on a social media post, God is good. How long is the opposition willing to sit and wait and allow this to play out without it coming to head, without some official statement being made, without the Prime Minister and or the Minister of Finance speaking to it?
Well, you know, this is an instance where the reputation of the Bahamas is at stake. And let's be clear, this is not personal. But this is an instance where this has not been disclosed. This rises to a level which is untenable. You have the Minister of Finance in the government of the Bahamas who acted as the president of a company owned by a narco transporter.
And what about the fact that he is standing by his position of saying he never served as president?
When you see the documents that I send to you in the next few minutes, then the Registrar General of the Bahamas must have inaccurate documents.
Dr. Sands, do you believe this controversy raises broader concerns about transparency and accountability and standards for individuals in public office?
I think that standards seem to only apply to other organizations and certainly not to the Progressive Liberal Party and to this administration. Because certainly, whatever buck up goes with this administration. I'm sharing with you now, Shanique, filed documents which come from the Registrar General's Office of the Bahamas from 2019, 2020, and 2021.
I see them coming in.
And each of those documents show that the president of the company, at the top of the page, president and director, Michael Halkitis, And you see the seal and the signature.
In fact, let me look right now as we speak.
So the last one is the Registrar General's Department, October 15, 2021.
Yes.
And, you know, it certainly says, unless this is...
unless these documents are fraudulent.
Unless they're fraudulent, and we don't have any reason to believe, since they were obtained from the Registrar General's office, that the president and director of Top Notch Builders Limited, the president and director was one Michael Halkitis.
Oh, wow. Well, sir, as they say, you have the receipts for what you say, what you're saying right now this evening. You all can kind of make out on this angle of where my phone is. In fact, it does say that. Yep, providing other certified financial analysts and president and director, top-notch builders, Michael Halkitis. Halkitis say, though, this suggests in no which way that he was involved in any other aspects of any business that the CEO would or may not have been involved with. Do you buy that? And do you think that the opposition is just trying to jump on something to say, gotcha, now work your way out of this?
And I think it's very important for us to understand that this is very much about optics, and this is about proprietary, what is appropriate in our system of governance. People have been asked to resign for less. You may recall that you're talking to somebody who resigned a ministerial post
for a dog
back in 2020.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with a dog.
Oh,
it had to do with swabs during the COVID pandemic. Okay. You had another cabinet minister that resigned over local government elections. You had Brent Simmons that resigned at another time. Peter Turnquest resigned. I could go on and on and on. And so the people of the Bahamas, the government of the Bahamas, ought not be subjected to undue scrutiny because of a personal issue or challenge. The honorable thing to do is to step aside. There's no saying that you did anything wrong, or you did anything illegal, or you did anything immoral.
You're saying it's the appearance of.
This does not pass the sniff test.
Dr. Dewey.
And he should do the honorable thing and resign.
There you have it. Calls continuing and mounting. The pressure is on this administration from the Free National Movement and other political organizations for the Minister of Finance, Michael Halkitis, to resign, and not necessarily for any other further explanation to be had, but for his resignation. Dr. Dwayne Sands, the chairman of the Free National Movement, joining me here at the top of tonight's show. Thank you very much, Dr. Sands.
Thank you, Shanique.
Yes,
Take
sir.
care.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
thank you. Thank you very much. This is Beyond the Headlines, starting out quite hot tonight. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, the Hot Topics panel will address that very thing. I tell you, the F&M chairman was very, very on point, not flinching in what his thoughts are and what should happen in this matter. And so we're going to get some views from the Hot Topics panel right after the break. Stay close.
Hey, it's your boy Charlie Bahama here at Superwash, Superwash's newest spokesmodel. And I'm here to tell you about Superwash's large capacity washers and dryers for all your big loads.
I know I see that Charlie Banana coming here just now.
Uh-oh. Luckily, it's also big enough for me to hide it.
I thought he was right over here where these large capacity washer and dryers is. They're big enough now to handle your big loads, you know. Yeah, like your comfort on your blanket. But just look at us. Somebody forget to turn on the dryer. Oh, stop! Help! You hear something? Yeah, that's the sound of clean. Superwash washes you, presses you, and entertains you 24/7.
5 cars, catch the keys, don't blink, take these.
Island Luck is giving away 5 brand new cars. Earn 10 reward points for a chance to enter and win. Enter weekly from Monday 12 a.m. to Sunday 2 p.m. Winners are announced Sundays at 3 p.m. on 103.5 The Beat and Island Luck Socials. 5 cars, 5 weeks. The more you play, the better your chances. Visit islandluck.com for more information. Catch the keys only at Island Luck. Must be 18 and over. Island Luck reminds you that it's only a game, so please game responsibly.
Welcome to Paradise Premium Foods, where exceptional taste meets everyday convenience. Right in the heart of Hurricane Hole Plaza, whether you're planning a beachside brunch, an intimate dinner, or simply restocking your favorites, we offer only the finest selection of local and imported goods, handpicked for quality, freshness, and flavor. At Paradise Premium Foods, shopping is effortless, service is personal, and every visit feels like a treat. From gourmet meals to go to organic essentials and indulgent treats, this is your neighborhood market elevated. Live well, eat better. Discover Paradise Premium Foods, now open at Hurricane Hole Plaza, Paradise Island. Paradise Premium Foods. Taste the difference.
Edenwell has expanded their testing menu. We now offer blood work, drug screening, and so much more. Our hours of operation are Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., located on 11 Madera Street. We are here for all of your laboratory needs, with fast and reliable lab work done by our friendly and knowledgeable staff. Let us help you take the needed steps to stay in the know about your health. Let's keep working towards a healthier you. Stay Eden well.
This segment is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. It's good to have you all tuned in this evening. A firm position by the Free National Movement that Michael Halkitis must resign. Well, we're going to bring in now the Hot Topics panel and get their views on this. It's a very serious matter. You all heard at the top of tonight's show, the chairman of the Free National Movement, Dwayne Saz, says this sends a bad message to every Bahamian. It paints the Bahamas in a poor light internationally, and it's something that the nation doesn't need right now. Well, welcome to Beyond the Headlines, Leslie Miller and Ellington Ferguson. Gentlemen, good evening to each of you. It's good to have you both here.
Good evening, Shani. Good evening, Bahamas.
Leslie, good evening. How are you?
Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah.
Good evening, Bahamas.
Yes, Leslie and Ellington, certainly it's right out of the gate, this administration has had to deal with something so damning. You heard just moments ago the Free National Movement speaking on one of the administration's, I guess, most brilliant minds, yes. Someone who people yes. think people have high regard for, including you, Leslie, which is Michael Halkitis. But now he finds himself on the defense or defensive, and in that he has to get on top of this and explain this. You all saw live as he spoke to me. Dr. Sands forwarded to me documents, official documents from the Registrar General stating that Michael Halkitis served as president and director of a construction company and provided other services, but served in those key positions of a construction company owned by someone who is now in U.S. custody under the suspicion of drug trafficking. Gentlemen, jump in.
Yeah, go ahead, Fergie. Yeah.
Michael Halkitis, this is unfortunate, very unfortunate situation. Both Mr. Michael Halkitis and the Prime Minister have got to get ahead of this and kind of bring this to head and bring whatever explanation there are to the Bahamian public. Both of them are public servants. The Progressive Liberal Party won the general election. The Bahamian people placed tremendous confidence in them to give them a second opportunity. Mm-hmm. Michael Halkitis serves at the pleasure of the Prime Minister. And so, yes, we need to get to the bottom of this, and so we can put this behind us, like you rightfully stated. This is at the beginning of the administration.
You know, Michael Halkitis was first elected in 2002 when a cadre of young men and women from all aspects, all areas of our country, was elected. He served under Right Honorable Perry Christie as Minister of Finance, James Smith, Mr. Simon Wilson, so was Mrs. Ruth Miller, God bless her. And we always thought of him as a very, very brilliant and insightful young man that had a valuable contribution to make for and on behalf of many people. During his years in Parliament, along with others, including myself, no one has ever raised a question concerning his capability or his integrity. He has represented Bahamas in international affairs throughout this hemisphere and around the world as a man who is well versed in the field of finance. I believe what might have happened in a situation like this, if you sign a document as a consultant, depending on the members who were present, they might have had you there as a president. That's in fact just a page that has on it who signed and what their position is supposed to be. If Mr. Halkida said that he was not the president, I will have to take his word that he was not the president.
How do you explain the documents that I just received?
If the procedure itself, you know what I mean, I have several companies that I run, and I just go sign as the VP or the president. It's a regular thing that one would just do. Mm-hmm. And you don't think nothing of it because you don't ever feel that something's going to come unbelonging, you know, or in a situation like this, mm-hmm. where you have to answer those tough questions as to whether you are or not. But I believe his entire life in the public forum has been one of distinction, one of trustworthiness by the many people, certainly by former prime ministers. And I don't believe that Mr. Alcides had anything whatsoever to do with the internal workings of that company. He was there as a consultant in his capacity, as being a well-learned man in finance. He was doing his job, and I think it was just one of those situations where his name was placed in a situation with being a director of the company, which he probably was, with also assisting them with turning in the proper documents on an annual basis to satisfy the requirements as enshrined in those documents.
Should he be made to resign? Dwayne Sands say, listen, we ain't trying to say he did nothing, you know. In fact, he may not have even done anything, but just the optics of it all, the way it looks, and the fact that he said he didn't serve as president, and when indeed he might have, or even provided services for such individual, should he be made to resign because of this?
I think, Shanique, we need to look at the document. I would love to, like I said a while ago, I would love to hear the Prime Minister and Michael Alcides' response to the document that Dr. Dwayne Sands, the chairman of the Free National Movement, presented. I would love to hear both their response to that document. We heard Honorable Michael Alcides stated that he served only as consultant and director. And we heard him state the responsibilities, what he did to help them get their documents in line and make sure that the company was in good order with the government and other institutions. So I would love to hear him speak to that document that Dr. Dwayne Sands produced, and then we take it from there.
Yes.
I don't think it's necessary for Mike Alcides to resign as our Minister of Finance. He has the expertise, he has the ability, and no one has questioned his integrity in his entire life, in public life. He's been there, like I said, from 2002. It's never been questioned. It's unfortunate that, you know, being a man of his caliber in the field that he's in, that somebody would be associated with someone who's found themselves on the wrong side of the law. But that's a company that was owned or jointly owned by the man in question and others. And I noticed that when that incident happened, the entire board of directors resigned, you know, which is the right thing to do. They resigned from the company. Mm-hmm. So did the minister before he became the minister just last week. I don't see no reason for his resignation. The company is in dire need of persons of his caliber in these difficult times that we're going through financially, when the world is at war, when the price of living is so high in the Bahamas, with the program that he presented to Bahamian people as one that could assist us and drive us further and take the burdens off the backs of the ordinary average Bahamian.
Correction, you said so did the minister. No, Halkitis did not resign last week before he became a minister. He stated he resigned in 2021.
You're right.
Okay,
You're right.
so he had no association with that company for the last several years. That's even
he was not
makes it more.
Right, he was
Thank
not
you,
a
sir.
minister at that time. Was he even he wasn't a member of parliament either.
No.
At that time. So I guess a private citizen doing private work.
Well, prior to that, because he became...
But he was requested to do.
Senate.
He was in the Senate. He was in the Senate since 2021 to recent.
Right.
Yes.
Right. He resigned all position. Yes.
Yes, since
We
2021.
need his expertise.
Since 2021 to recent, he served in the Senate, but he also said that he resigned from the
Prior to
company
serving
in
in the Senate,
2021,
yes.
prior to his Senate appointment.
Right.
Okay, great. Thank you all for putting that out there and sorting that out.
But you know, politics being politics, that's the nature of the game.
Of course.
You know, they will come after you and you have to
Absolutely,
be...
and questions must be asked
Especially with
and
your family
answered.
involved, it's rough.
And so, Mr. Halkitis, Michael Halkitis, yes, God is good all the time. But, sir, that should not be your only response. Do not take this lightly. Come out and address the Bahamian people. You have said you have nothing to hide. And you know, Leslie has spoken highly of your track record and your character traits and all the rest of it. So put that all out there. Speak to the Bahamian people, but not just with little quotes and whatnot. No, put yourself out there. You've built a reputation in this nation. And so many people stand behind that and support you on your reputation that you've built. And so come and speak to the people, put it out there, and so that we all can move forward.
But I thought in an interview on Tuesday,
Yeah.
in the Prime Minister's office, when they had this press conference, that the press was there and they asked him these questions, and he answered them forthrightly, and he answered them in a manner that was transparent. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know what else he can do. People who know Michael Halkitis' record in public life speak for itself.
And
he has an unblemished record in public life.
And Leslie, you're
Unblemished.
absolutely right. Now, the one thing is, he did say you can go to the Registrar General office and you yourself can look and see, and you will never see him appearing as the president or anything. And we saw that, and he is. So also I'm saying,
that needs to be corrected.
Come and speak for yourself, and let's move forward. Let's move forward, because the majority think very highly of you, and so absolutely. But you know, let's just do that, and we will stay here on Beyond the Headlines, continue to follow this, and see exactly how this develops. Meanwhile, gentlemen, here's something that took place right under our noses yesterday, and we didn't pay much attention to it because it happened in Grand Bahama. Members of several unions, led by members of the BPSU, held a major protest in Grand Bahama. They were joined by a number of unions, Leslie, of which we have discussed just before we came on this segment, several other unions, and they all joined to protest against President Kingsley Ferguson. Now, that was quite surprising because, and I know much of the protest sounded along the lines of Ferguson got to go. Fergie got to go. Fergie got to go. Gentlemen, I know you both have followed this. We, of course, don't have a team there in Grand Bahama. I know we have had something in the news earlier. But your thoughts on this? This is some key unions who teamed up with the Bahamas Public Services Union, but several other unions. Not quite sure how Kingsley affects those other unions, but they came together to have a louder voice, obviously.
Well, you know, Shanique, a lot of them are under certain umbrellas. And so
yeah.
They normally work together for things like this. As a matter of fact, you remember, I think it was last year when the unions, the teachers union and all of those were having some issue with the government as it relates to the timing of getting their money, and they took to the streets and they pulled several of those other unions, and they were threatening mass strikes. So it's unfortunate now that the wheels are turned on the union themselves.
Yeah,
not sure
the
exactly
president
what all of the deals is, but I hope they can really iron these things out, because here it is, you're the bargaining agent, and the very things that are even worse than the things that you normally are protesting and having strikes to the government over pay or delayed negotiations. Here it is, the union is being accused of mishandling and misappropriation and all of that type of stuff. That is not good for the union. That is not good for unionism in the country. And hopefully we can get to the bottom of this, get this cleared out, and everything get.
You know, what is so damning about this is the fact that members of Mr. Ferguson's own union, along with every other major union in the country,
they led it because the area vice president led.
With the union, the Public Teachers Union. But every other union is out to tell him that you need to give an account. They said he hasn't given an account with the finances of the unions since 2019. That vehicles were supposed to be purchased. They were never purchased. NIB is delinquent. And all of these unions now want to know what you did with our money. And they said he hasn't called a meeting. And he's appointing people to committees and what have you without any regard for the leadership on those other entities. Mr. Ferguson, you got to step to the plate and answer the question, man.
It's surprising to hear that, though, because Kingsley Ferguson always presented himself as quite meticulous, someone who was very upstanding, someone who the people who elected him can put their trust in. And now to see this again, that it was led by the area vice president. That's the person who did the interview on the local TV station there that I saw. That she spoke and they were very, very.
And the others also spoke heavily against him.
They did. And so, Kingsley Ferguson, you obviously must come and speak. Of course, this show made attempts to reach out to Kingsley Ferguson before this segment. My attempts were unsuccessful. And so we will continue to follow that. Meanwhile, a reported accidental shooting that left an 8-year-old boy fighting for his life has now left his father and his brother to feel the brunt of the law. Linton Ritchie Jr. has the story.
8-year-old Duron Saunders, critically injured, has now resulted in both his father and 12-year-old brother being charged. The father and son were brought before the magistrate's court Thursday afternoon after being escorted from crawling out of the back of a police vehicle with shirts covering their heads. Appearing before Magistrate Yule Johnson in court number 1, 40-year-old Dexter Saunders was charged with 1 count of cruelty to a child and 1 count of possession of a firearm with intent to endanger life. Meanwhile, his eldest son, who police alleged discharged the weapon that injured his younger brother, faced a charge of negligently causing grievous harm. The case has sparked debate across social media, with some arguing that a 12-year-old should be held accountable for his actions, while others maintain the incident was a tragic accident and questions whether the child should face criminal charges. Duron was shot on Sunday, suffering injuries above his left eyebrow and to the back of his head, which resulted in him being airlifted, calling for immediate emergency brain surgery. Sources close to the investigation tell Eyewitness News the shooting occurred after the 2 boys allegedly found the firearm while playing in a Bimini hotel room. Following the arraignment, the 12-year-old was granted bail in the amount of $5,000 and ordered to undergo a 6-week psychiatric evaluation. As for the father, Dexter Saunders, was not required to enter a plea. His matter will proceed by way of a voluntary bill of indictment, with his next court appearance scheduled for September 21st, 2026. Linton Ritchie Jr., Eyewitness News.
Well, you all, of course, when we heard that story, we all immediately jumped on how did they even have access to an unlicensed firearm at that. Turns out it belonged to their father, and those boys obviously just came up on it, Leslie and Ellington, just came up on it and decided to fool around with it, and the unfortunate happened.
Shanique, I spoke to that some time ago on this show, that we see all these issues of crime taking place in our country. Family members, you always know, okay? Just how those 2 boys knew and were able to stumble across that gun. Sisters know, brothers know, friends know, mommy does know, big brothers does know. You know what your brother or your friend is into with these illegal ammunition until it harms somebody like that one harmed those 2 boys. And I pray, God, that more of us child advocates get out there and make sure that 10-year-old should 12-year-old should not be charged with that weapon. 2 little boys found the weapon which they should have never found, should have never been there, playing around with it, don't know what the deal is with it. I mean, and it's sad for that 12-year-old man. I mean, the trauma that he's going through, not just going into court, but his brother is injured. That he mistakenly shot his brother. Now he got to go through this agony of going through court. And The father should face the full brunt of the law
Exactly.
with all maximum penalty. Number one, the gun is illegal. Number two, you got it lying around somewhere in a hotel room that your two kids can access it. Come on, man. And so whatever the outcome, I think he should fail, whatever the maximum penalty is in this case, because there's no winner, really. This is a whole family of brothers and fathers and sons. Nobody wins in this, unfortunately.
And don't let us forget that he ran away from the scene, eh?
Yes.
He leave the two boys to fend for themselves.
He left them and gone. I mean, it's a coward that's out there. That's why I say in this country one of our greatest problems is children having children, you know, and don't really care about the kids at all. Because he left those two young kids there. They didn't know that the gun was a real gun. They was just playing with each other.
Or loaded.
And you have a 12-year-old now. As Ferguson said, is so frightened. His whole life now, he didn't know if his brother's going to live or die. His father left them by themselves. The brunt of the law should be placed upon his head. The full brunt of the law. And I hope that he don't get bail probably next week for $6,000, eh? You know the court's good at that. Getting bail, okay? So let's see what happens with this one.
Well, the good news is it seems as though the 12-year-old will be undergoing some psychiatric therapy and sessions, and so that's really, really awesome to hear that. Meanwhile, you all, of course, you know the budget communication was presented by Finance Minister Michael Alkitis on Wednesday. Of course, that budget debate is set to get started quite shortly. Everything must be done through the House and the Senate by the end of June, and so that will happen. But the Nurses Union is now weighing in on the budget and the provisions in the budget for healthcare. Of course, you know, it's emerged as one of the key areas of focus of this administration. And of course, we will hear from Nurses Union President Muriel Lightbourne after this break. This is Beyond the Headlines, Week in Review Fridays. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome to Paradise Premium Foods, where exceptional taste meets everyday convenience. Right in the heart of Hurricane Hole Plaza, whether you're planning a beachside brunch, an intimate dinner, or simply restocking your favorites, we offer only the finest selection of local and imported goods, handpicked for quality, freshness, and flavor. At Paradise Premium Foods, shopping is effortless, service is personal, and every visit feels like a treat. From gourmet meals to go to organic essentials and indulgent treats, this is your neighborhood market elevated. Live well, eat better. Discover Paradise Premium Foods, now open at Hurricane Hole Plaza, Paradise Island. Paradise Premium Foods. Taste the difference.
Edenwell has expanded their testing menu. We now offer blood work, drug screening, and so much more. Our hours of operation are Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., located on 11 Madera Street. We are here for all of your laboratory needs, with fast and reliable lab work done by our friendly and knowledgeable staff. Let us help you take the needed steps to stay in the know about your health. Let's keep working towards a healthier you. Stay Eden well.
Before the break, you heard me talk about Nurses Union President Muriel Lightbourne and her hopes, and what she hopes is materialized in the 2026-2027 budget. You all know by now, we've been talking about it really since Wednesday, that health is a major focus in this 2026-2027 budget. And so, of course, the Nurses Union, who has had its fair share of tumbles with the government as it relates to pay and right sizing, and also getting nurses qualified in various levels and paid and recognized for those things, that she too is paying keen attention. Leslie and Ellington, your thoughts on one, the attention that health and healthcare and public health is getting in this budget, and also the fact that, you know, the Nurses Union is right there saying, listen, we ain't gonna let y'all slip and slide in no which way. These things must happen.
Well, obviously, Shanique, the nurses can see themselves in the budget, and the government has started this whole process of reforming the health sector in their last administration, and they've come full circle into this administration. We see it now in the budget of the things that they promised that they're going to do. And it's we look forward to see the clinics around the country. They talk about the new clinics. They talk about the new hospital. They talk about enhancement of nurses pay, and the training of more nurses, staffing all of those clinics on the Family Island. So they're looking forward to it.
I think it's a good stand that they've taken, with appreciating the fact that the government is putting a lot of focus on health, the same thing as they're doing with education. So both parties has every right to express their views and to see to it that the plans formulated by the government would be fully implemented to the best interests of the Bahamian people. And those who carried out that exercise, which of course are the nurses in the hospital and the doctors and all those places who work for that institution, need to be remunerated properly.
Yeah, absolutely. We absolutely agree and support that, and also support the further enhancement and advancement of public health in the nation. Meanwhile, gentlemen, this week, the nation lost the visionary behind one of the country's largest food store chains. Rupert Roberts has died. We now take a look at the life and legacy of Rupert Roberts. Here is Laurencia Smith.
1965, Rupert Roberts and Super Value have stood by one mission, putting food on Bahamian tables at the best possible price. Today, that legacy is being remembered across the country, following the death of its founder, Rupert Roberts, the man who built one of the Bahamas' largest and most influential food store chains. In a statement, the food store chain president Deborah Simonet confirmed Roberts' passing, describing him as the heart and soul of the company, noting that he remained actively involved in the daily operation up until his death. Earlier this year, Robert was diagnosed with pneumonia and spent several weeks in hospital recuperating.
Shopping at Super Value forever, years and years.
Shopping at least over 50 years. 50 years, from I was about 10 years old.
For a very long time, for as long as I could think, years and years.
Customers across the Bahamas are reacting with gratitude and reflecting, saying the brand became a part of their everyday lives. Many recalling that while they may have complained about the prices, they still return every Sunday to take advantage of the double stamps while feeding their families. For generations, Super Value was more than a grocery store. It was a national institute. Through Robert's leadership, thousands of Bahamians were employed, from entry-level packing boys to long-standing careers, positions that helped shape lives and families.
Food and stuff. My daughter's first job, she started already at Super Value. This same particular store here in Golden Gates.
A lot of people, you know, because you could come here with $20 and you could have like $40, $50 worth of stamp.
Growing up back in the day, they used to have like the family pack, the meal, and I think he was all about looking out for the small man.
Online viewers also reflecting on Robert's legacy. One stating, "I got my first job in the 9th grade as a seasonal worker, cashing at Super Value. He interviewed me and it was the funniest interview ever. His legacy will live on forever." And rest in peace. My first job ever was a packing boy at the Cable Beach branch. In 2012, Super Value expanded its footprint with launching the Quality Market, an extension of the Super Value family brand. The company has since grown into a successful chain of 13 supermarkets across the country. The CEO of the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce, Dr. Leo Roll, is among those paying tribute, highlighting Robert's role in the strength and the local retail sector and his lasting contribution to the Bahamian business and economics.
Well, I think he leaves a lasting impression in the business community. He helps persons to understand what it means to be an entrepreneur, what it means to strive in resilient times.
And just before the budget, both Prime Minister Philip Davis and opposition leader Michael Pintard paid tribute to the businessman in Parliament.
Of the oligarchs of the 60s to become one of the leading business persons in this country. That is in the person of Rupert Roberts.
Absolutely committed to making sure that Bahamian farmers throughout the country had their fair share. You produce it, he was prepared to purchase it.
Consumers say that Mr. Roberts did not just redefine what it is to be a Bahamian entrepreneur, but over the years that he had a hand in feeding thousands of Bahamians. Laurencia Smith, Eyewitness News.
Of course, fond memories for SuperValu, and it still remains that Bahamian staple, and the footprint of SuperValu will not be erased ever in this country. Leslie Ellington, your thoughts, and of course, I just want to extend thoughts and prayers. I've developed also a closer relationship with many of the executive management there, and so thoughts and prayers to you during this time.
My heart goes out to the family of Mr. Rupert Roberts, who's become a giant in the grocery business in this country. SuperValu, an entity that touched and impacted my life early on. I remember coming from Auckland's back in 1979. That's one of my first jobs, the SuperValu on East Street, and then I worked at the SuperValu on Blue Hill Road, and then the one on Mackey Street. I worked at all of them, and it was a wonderful experience for me over the years working for those institutions. Mr. Roberts have done tremendous. I remember when the city market entity went out of business, he was able to scoop up some of those stores so that Bahamian can have locations that they can go to. And I think that is a legacy that Mr. Roberts have left, how he have helped and worked with the Bahamian community. You would hear him very much vocal when it come to any crisis that we were going through globally. He would speak to the Bahamian people publicly and talk about how he's trying to keep prices down and trying to work with Bahamian people. And so yes, our hearts will forever remember him and the work that he have done in this country.
Rupert Roberts was such a wonderful, wonderful human being. I first met Mr. Roberts about 50 years ago. We formed the Bahamas Light Industries Development Council in 1983. At that time, we were totally dominated by foreign products. To give you an example, the water companies were about to go out of business. There was not a dime duty on imported water. You couldn't believe it. There was no duty on water. There was no duty on the container. And when we formed the council, the first person we went to and had a luncheon with was Rupert Roberts. He said, fellas, how could I help? And God bless us that I was elected to Parliament in 1987. And again, we went to him. And we initiated programs. And God bless Mr. Paul Adley. We put 100% duty on imported water. And that's how all those water people get where they are today. Because there was no water on anything, including the packet. Glenn Rogers was then producing bottles and what have you in the industrial park there off Soldier Road. And Blanco was about to go under, Blanco Chemicals. In fact, you will remember that the processing plant there through Centerville went under. Champion Foods and all that, they went under because they couldn't take the pressure anymore. And they moved and went on to Apico. But what used to kill me with him, every time I would go to the food store on Sunday, right near my house in Nassau East on Mitten, he would continue to drive this truck. I said, Mr. Roberts, the kind of millions you got, why are you still driving this truck? He said, Leslie, the truck's still running. There's nothing wrong with the truck. Why won't I buy a new truck if I got an old truck that ain't give me no problems?
The mindset of
and
the
he
rich.
drove until his 80s. He was 88. God really bless him and his children. My deepest on all of the local manufacturers in this country. He was the man that assisted us in every single instance when many of us was about to go under. We'll go to him and say, put it to the front, and he will pick the space for you to put your Bahamian product on his shelf free of charge. He didn't even charge us any income from it. We don't have to give him anything at all. You see, you got your shelf space, put your product there, you sell it. And he's a wonderful, wonderful human being. I'm sure
Certainly
any
somebody-
behaviors like yourself, and God is going to bless him and his family for making a tremendous contribution to our country.
Absolutely.
May his soul rest in peace.
His contributions will live on, obviously beyond him as they're doing even now. And to his grandson Patrick, to the president of Super Value, Deborah Simonet, again,
does a wonderful job on our team.
they absolutely do. Again, this show sends its regards to you all. Meanwhile, thank you all so much for tuning in this entire week and for hanging out. We certainly enjoyed having you here. Gentlemen, I thank you both as well for stepping in. You've been here most of the week. Thank you very much. And of course, at the top of the show, to Dr. Dwayne Sands, the chairman of the FNM, thank you as well for joining me this evening. And a huge thank you to all of you once again. I look forward to seeing you right back here on Monday evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a blessed weekend, everyone.
Right, yeah.